Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Lucimus Prime here, so it's time for a movie today, and this time, guys, I'm going to be reviewing what is the last of the ROBOCOP franchise that I'll be reviewing, and guys, this movie I'm going to be reviewing is actually for a reboot in this franchise, guys, and this was released 21 years after the conclusion of the original trilogy of ROBOCOP, and guys, this movie is of course for none other than ROBOCOP, released in 2014, directed by Jose Padilla. So what doing this movie, guys? Now, I'm going to be honest and say that it has had mixed to negative reception from critics, and I can definitely understand why. I'm going to be honest, guys, and say, well, I do think it's a mediocre mess. I do think it does have several good qualities, which are quite underrated, so yeah, which I'm going to get to. So yeah, as a bit of a synopsis of the movie, guys, so it follows pretty much the same plot as the original movie, because it's a reboot, of course, which is to be expected, So in the year 2028, which is, 6 years away from now, Omnicorp is at the centre of robot technology. While its drones have long been used by the military overseas, their use is forbidden in American law enforcement. However, Omnicorp gets a golden opportunity to crack that market when Detroit cop Alex Murphy, who is now played by Joel Kinnaman, is critically injured in the line of duty. By transforming Murphy into a cyborg, Omnicorp executives hope to rake in billions for their shareholders, but we forget one thing: there's still a man inside the machine. So yeah. So already, guys, it does sound similar to the first movie, but yeah. Now, so on to what I think is good out of the movie. So I think it does have a very good cast, guys. So for example, I've already mentioned Joel Kinnaman, who of course plays ROBOCOP in this movie, and I'm going to say that even though I do strongly prefer Peter Weller as ROBOCOP in the franchise, as far as I'm concerned, he'll always be ROBOCOP, and no one can top him. I think Joel did a very good job playing him, in my opinion. I think he did a very good job and was quite entertaining in the role, actually. I think he did a very good job of maintaining, the faithfulness of what ROBOCOP should be, really. So, yeah, I think he did a very good job playing him. All my favourite role of him is Rick Flag in the E600 universe. I thought he was really good as ROBOCOP in this reboot. And I thought he was very good with the direction he was given, actually. And yeah. I mean, one thing I didn't really like was, this is not a criticism of Joel himself, guys, but I didn't like how ROBOCOP did not have a robotic effect on his voice at all in the movie, which I didn't really like, to be honest, because by not having the effect on him, it kind of destroyed the illusion that he's, a robot with no memory of his past life, like he started off as being in the first movie, really. And yeah. But nonetheless, I think Joel did a very good job playing ROBOCOP. And on to the other cast members, I also as well love the addition of the great Michael Keaton as the main villain of this movie called Raymond Sellers, the CEO of Omnicorp. And I thought he did a very good job playing Raymond in this movie, guys. He was very good. All of the role of his play as a villain is probably with Ultra and Spider-Man Homecoming, and also probably his voice work as Ken from Toy Story 3 as well. And also, as well, however, my favourite role is obviously Batman, nonetheless. But I thought he was really good as Raymond Sellers in this movie. Very good in the role. Definitely had really good acting. I also love the addition of Gary Oldman, one of my favourite actors, as Dr. Dennis Norton, who is the Foundation chief scientist who is responsible for creating ROBOCOP. So he's essentially, basically, the character who replaces Bob Morton, as said by a similar surname, Norton, Morton. You get what I mean? Just a different first name. And yeah. I like how this reboot, of course, tried to be different to the original by not having his character die. So I am glad that Dr. Norton survived and didn't get killed off, because, I thought Bob Morton deserved better in the original movie than being killed off. But yeah, I like how this remake, did something different and didn't try to fully, copy the original, because I think by copying the originals, reboots tend to get boring if they copy them far too much. And thankfully, this movie didn't really copy it much. I also, of course, love the addition of the great Samuel Jackson, one of my other favourite actors of all time, as Pat Novak, who is the host of the show called The Novak Element, who is a supporter of mechanised crime control. And he was really entertaining in the role, guys, but I think one bad quality I have with the movie is I don't like how Novak didn't have very much screen time, because he only appears, at the opening of a movie, giving his speech on his show. But he doesn't appear again until, an hour later into the movie. But thankfully, he does a couple of sporadic scenes, throughout the second half of the movie. But yeah, I wish he had more screen time, because Because one of the issues I have with the movie, guys, is that, I mean, aside from showing the Novak Element show, I wish this movie showed more of the, you know, commercials which the original movie had, because I love how the first two movies showed satire by showing all these different shows. And finally, this movie did show Novak Element, but I wish it showed more of it in a way, kind of. I'd probably like that, because I was very intrigued to see what their take on Future would be like in this movie, because this is like a remake of the movie, and I'd love to see how their take on Future would be. I also as well like the addition of Abby Cornish as Alex Murphy's wife, and yeah, however, I didn't really like how they changed her name from being Ellen to Clara. I wish they still kept her as Ellen instead of Clara. But I thought she was really good in the role, guys. She played her really well. I also saw like the addition of a new character, guys, who's actually ROBOCOP's trainer, called Rick Mattox, played by Jackie Earle Haley, and I thought he was a pretty cool character, guys, and played really well by Jackie Earle Haley. Although I like him more as Rorschach in Zack Snyder's Watchmen movie, and also as Grishkin in Alita Battle Angel, I thought he was really good as Rick Mattox, in my opinion. And I thought he played him really well, one of the best parts of the movie. And what's even cool, guys, is he even gets to say the catchphrase of "I'll buy that for $1," which is pretty cool, how he paraphrased that funny line from the first movie. That was great. And there's also other good casting to will say, like you've got Jennifer L. as Liz Klein, who's the head of Omnicorp's legal affairs, and also Jay Baruchel as Tom Pulp, the head of marketing for Omnicorp. And we even get Margot K. Williams, may rest in peace, as Jack Lewis, who is Alex's best friend and partner in the police force. Now, other good quality I will say, guys, as well, is that I also as well like how they, of course, you know, did the same, you know, plot as the first movie in a way, but I like how they gave it a much more, you know, futuristic feel in a way, in like a more modern setting. It's kind of like ROBOCOP, but in like a more modern setting, if you get what I mean. So, for example, guys, I think the way they did the future was brilliant, and the visuals are very stunning as well, in my opinion. And I also don't like how they gave ROBOCOP a brand new suit. So, yeah, and so I like how they didn't just, you know, completely, you know, copy this suit, you know, in a way, guys. You know, I was very glad that they did a brand new suit for ROBOCOP, thankfully, and yeah, because, you know, because thankfully they didn't, you know, copy it too much. They did a brand new suit for ROBOCOP, which was actually a very nice design, really. And I also really like as well how, compared to the original suit, I like how they still kept Murphy's right hand, and they didn't make a robotic hand for his right hand. I like how they still kept his human hand, which was actually a really cool feature, really, how they did that. It was also nice how his vehicle was a motorbike this time for most of the movie, and, you know, not just a police car as well. So I like how we did that differently as well. And it was pretty good to see. And we as well got a much more futuristic take on the Ed 209 as well, guys, which was really cool to see. The Ed 209 returned, and yeah. And thankfully, it was handled way better than how it was in the dreadful ROBOCOP 3 movie, and yeah. I mean, Joel Kinnaman was a way better ROBOCOP than Robert John Burke, in my opinion, guys. Way better than him, in my opinion. Definitely. And he also still has some more favourable moments, for example, getting to say, ROBOCOP does say his character is dead or alive, you come with me, which was pretty nice to hear that he said that catchphrase. I definitely did like that. And also as well, other things I did also like were, you know, aside from that, was also, I think the action was also very good as well, guys, as well, very well visual and choreographed. Although one issue with the movie is I don't like how there wasn't very much of the action, sadly, which is disappointing. I mean, there is more in ROBOCOP 3s, certainly, because I hardly was any in that movie, but thankfully there was more in this movie, but still wasn't very much. And because there wasn't much of the action, it kind of felt more like a drama movie than an action movie. Like, it felt more like a police drama than an actual ROBOCOP movie, which I didn't really like. And so, yeah. Now, that being said, on to what I think are bad qualities of the movie. So, now, I've already mentioned the some things they do faithful to the source material, but one thing I don't really like is, even though Joel Kinnaman did a very good job playing ROBOCOP, I think they did some things which are quite questionable to ROBOCOP, because, I didn't like how, when he first becomes ROBOCOP, he still has his memories of his human life as Alex Murphy. Like, I wanted them to do the same story arc of where he starts off as being pure robot, acting like a robot, speaking in a monotone voice with no memory of his past life, and as the movie progresses, he regains his memory. Yet this movie just begins with him remembering everything, and doesn't have, of course, the robotic effect on his voice, yeah. So I didn't really like that, to be honest, guys. I was hoping they'd have, you know, done the same story arc from the first movie, because I did like that arc very much. So that disappoints me a little bit. And of course, I do also think the movie is unnecessary as well, because in my opinion, ROBOCOP only works as the first movie as well. And yeah. And the costume is cool, even though it doesn't really resemble it, but it was nice how it was like an Easter egg where the original suit does have a cameo appearance, which I did like how this suit made a cameo appearance on a screen, which was pretty nice to see, so we didn't forget about it completely. And plus, even though I did like Michael K. Williams' performance as Jack Lewis, I didn't really like how they gender swapped Anne Lewis. I didn't really like that, to be honest. It's all disappointing because she's, of course, my favourite character in the franchise. Didn't like how she was gender swapped, and yeah. I think I like Michael K. Williams way more in his role in Toy Is a Slave, to be honest, guys, more than in this movie, to be honest. But he was still good as Jack Lewis, may rest in peace, and yeah. But yeah, I just wish they still kept Lewis as being a female character, really, because, you know, that's how I think, you know, the character works best. I also didn't like how Sergeant Reed was also absent from the movie, guys, and replaced by a new character called Chief Karen Dean. And in my opinion, she was very unlikable, guys, because she was so mean, and yeah, especially because it is revealed she was actually a villain because ROBOCOP exposes her later on, and yeah, but before he can make her confess, he gets shut down by Maddox. So yeah, did not like how they got rid of Sergeant Reed and replaced him with an unlikable new chief. Yeah, didn't like that. So yeah, and all this said, I didn't like as well the lack of, you know, the satire, apart from the Novak element, bits of Samuel L. Jackson. And I also as well did not like how, just like ROBOCOP 3, this movie was unfortunately rated PG-13 instead of R, like the original movie and the second movie. I personally did not like that. And as a result of this, even though the action was good, they of course unfortunately toned it down because there wasn't very much blood and gore, sadly, which I personally didn't really like because, I mean, come on. Like I said from the ROBOCOP 3, you know, trash talk, ROBOCOP is not a character that's aimed at children. He never was designed to be a character aimed at children. So I didn't like that, guys. It was disappointing how they toned it down. And due to a lack of action, it got pretty boring as well. But thank God I was boring on the same level as ROBOCOP 3, because that was incredibly boring as hell. And plus, guys, when it comes to a scene where Alex Murphy gets injured, which results in having to undergo operation to become ROBOCOP, in my opinion, the idea of him being wounded by a car explosion is a way less lethal way of him to be injured than getting shot down in cold blood by Clarence Poddick and his gang, like in the original movie, because I mean, in the original movie, guys, he got shot down and his arm blown off and shot in the head, and yeah. Whereas this movie is just a car explosion, so yeah. I feel like it wasn't lethal enough to warrant him having to become ROBOCOP. So yeah. I didn't really like that, to be honest, guys. It was disappointing. I was hoping that they'd make it a lot more violent, but yeah, sadly not. And plus, when it comes to Maddox, guys, even though I, of course, really enjoyed Jackie Earle Haley's performance, guys, I feel like, in my opinion, his fate was way too quick because didn't like how, of course, he pinned down ROBOCOP and ROBOCOP couldn't shoot him due to being a member of OCP, which is, of course, like, you know, paying homage to Directive 4 from the original movie. I didn't really like how, instead of having, you know, what would have been a pretty cool fight scene, he just got shot down by Lewis. So, yeah, in a very quick and abrupt death. So, I was hoping they'd give him a much more better fight scene. So, it was disappointing. And, yeah. And, of course, you know, the whole idea of, you know, ROBOCOP unable to shoot Raymond Sellers is just like how he can't kill Dick Jones. And, yeah. And I don't get as well how he was able to, you know, shoot Raymond and not get, you know, shut down because when, you know, he shot him, he did, of course, collapse, but he didn't, like, you know, go unconscious. He just lied by saying everything's going to be okay to his wife and son. So, yeah, didn't really like that. That was pretty disappointing, to be honest, really. So, I was hoping we'd have a similar character, you know, say to Raymond that he's fired, but we didn't get that, sadly. Like, it would have been cool if you know, like, Tom Polpot or the other character who was with, any other character was there, got to say, you know, Raymond, you're fired, but we unfortunately did not get that. And plus, I also did like Pedro Bronfman's music, guys. I like how he did include the original theme as well, like in the intro to the movie, and also in some of these shots of Novak speaking. But yeah, didn't really like how the original theme wasn't really used that much, only in the intro and in you know, the background of Novak speaking. I was hoping they'd have it more, like in the action scenes, but sadly not. Didn't really like that. But it was still good music to listen to nonetheless, though, pretty decent. And also, as well, I think the humour also definitely does fall flat compared to the first two movies as well, yeah. Didn't really like that, to be honest, how there wasn't very much humour, which is disappointing, so yeah. I was hoping they'd you know, kept in the humour, which made the first two movies so memorable, but sadly not. Didn't really like that. And yeah. But nonetheless, though, guys, while I think it's a mediocre mess, I do think it still has, you know, like, underrated parts. But yeah, nonetheless, though, still not really, you know, the best movie of a franchise, because in my opinion, nothing can ever top the original movie. And yeah, and I've already stressed the importance of saying that, you know, I think no movie can top the original, and the original should say is one movie with no sequels whatsoever, because the first movie, in my opinion, beautifully wrapped up the story at the end. And yeah, and in what done my ROBOCOP 2, I think it's a good pleasure to rewatch. I still think it was unnecessary, and I had many nitpicks with it, which I, of course, talked in my review. And I, of course, despise ROBOCOP 3 with burning passion, so yeah. But this movie, however, is decent, guys. Definitely an improvement over it, but yeah. Unfortunately, it did bomb at the box office and didn't have very good reviews, so as a result, any sequels to it were cancelled. And of course, we're getting a reboot called ROBOCOP Returns, which is acting as, of course, as a direct sequel to the first movie, which is going to ignore all its sequels and this movie. But I'm probably not going to watch it, guys, because like I said, in my opinion, ROBOCOP is only the first movie from 1987, and that's it. So yeah. So that's why, you know, I'm probably not going to watch it, because I'm just going to stick with the original, really. So, yeah, if you ever go to a DVD shop, guys, I'm just going to buy the original movie, and that's it. I'm not going to buy any of the sequels or this movie, to be honest, because in my opinion, ROBOCOP is only the first movie, and that's it. And in my opinion, the only movie of a franchise, yeah. A brilliant masterpiece, guys. The best work of Paul Verhoeven, in my opinion, and yeah. So yeah. So I'm probably not going to be watching ROBOCOP Returns, guys, yeah. I don't really want to. Especially as well, because I'm pretty sure Peter Weller, who played him in the original, said he's not interested in returning. So, yeah. I'm not going to watch it now. No way. No way at all. So, guys, this is me, of course, reviewing the ROBOCOP remake from 2014. So, yeah. Not a terrible movie, but still quite disappointing due to a lack of a gore and the blood or the humour, and not very much action, but still a slight improvement over the dreadful ROBOCOP 3. So, yeah. Now, if you'd like to rate me out of 10, guys, well, guys, after a couple of rewatches, guys, I used to give it 10 out of 10, but now I give it 6.5 out of 10, so that's how I'd rate it out of 10, so yeah. Not really, you know, the best in my opinion, so yeah, I'd classify it as a mediocre mess, because in my opinion, it is quite disappointing, but still better than the trash, which is ROBOCOP 3, absolutely, so yeah, I rate it 6.5 out of 10, so yeah. And I will be also covering the first ROBOCOP movie in my series of movies. Didn't need a sequel, because in my opinion, didn't need any at all. So yeah. So guys, this is me reviewing ROBOCOP 2014 remake, directed by Joseph Padilla. So, you know, Joe, guys, be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to comment what you guys think of ROBOCOP 2014 remake, if you've seen what your thoughts are on it. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for movies from the future. If you'd like to be a member, you can join me. Peace out to all in the description, and I'll see you all later.